Good. How you doing? How you doing? How are you? Oh my God! Can you hear me?
Yeah, hey. Yeah, I can. Yeah, you said you answered it some kind of video thing. I don't do that shit.
I didn't
So
answer with I didn't answer with video. I didn't do that. I don't know what's going
I,
on.
I don't I don't know how are you doing.
I am fine, I guess. I mean, I'm alive. That's as much as you can ask for these days, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm having a bad week, but we won't talk about that. We're here to talk about the music. And when I started doing this track by track show, I immediately thought of you. But as I said at the top of the show, there's no way you can pick one and not pick the other because they are such fabulous albums. And I've always said it in the entire the Outlaw Renegade family, you are the greatest artist there is because you mix so much into your projects. And let's just dive in right now if you don't care. Let's start with the first album. We just heard the first track, "The Escape." Tell us, kind of, give us a background of the story of the Wolf on Board.
Okay, so it was the so for those who don't know, I create rock music and comic art about the end of humanity, and the story is like the narration of the overall story. Sorry, the comic is the narration of the overall story, and the songs are the voices of the individual characters. And the Wolf on Board is I have a neuroscientist who hates humanity because we're ridiculous and she doesn't believe that they should exist anymore. Creates a neurovirus that basically goes through the entire population, making everyone so miserable that they want to kill themselves and everybody else around them. No human is immune. It's a miseries virus called the miseries, and humanity ends up having to give up the normal running of human society to an AI because no one can be trusted not to press the nuke buttons or like ram trains into schools or whatever. So the AI takes over, and then we actually skip out a large part of the story because it was a seven page comic book with 7 songs, so we couldn't cover the entire story. So then we like go forward in time to the last colony of humans, or the last little pocket of humans have decided they're going to get off the planet. So they jump in a spaceship and they escape the planet while the planet burns behind them, essentially. And then they are the last of the human race and they're alone in space. And the captain of the ship basically becomes depressed because they're going to spend their entire lives on a ship and that's it. They know they're the last. They know the Earth is done. And the captain starts getting really depressed and he thinks that he's got the miseries virus. So if he thinks if he's got it, then everyone on the ship has it and there's no point going on. So he rams the entire ship into a planet and kills the last of humanity for like no real reason. Um,
That
so
so
th-
it's a happy album.
so it's great. It's great. So every Death and Glory album ends with humanity being killed out completely. So we're just exploring the inglorious ways in which humanity could come to an end, could meet its death. That's basically what we're doing. And yeah, the first one we do it with the miseries virus.
All
Um,
right, and the escape does that take place as the captain of the ship is escaping the planet?
yeah, so it is the story of the last of humans just grabbing up all their kids and their bags and stuff and jumping on the last ship that's about to leave the planet. Um, It's an odd one because it is the first song on the album, but it's also the first new song I wrote at that time for me personally because I was escaping an old. I was working with a producer before, and basically it was a really toxic relationship, and he wouldn't release anything and stuff like that. So this was me going off on my own and escaping from that previous terrible business relationship. So there was a lot of that put in this as well. But the song also is about actual refugees, and at the time, in the news, there was a kid from like I don't know whether Syria or something had like washed up on a shore.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Yes.
somewhere in Europe, and so that was going on in the background of me going through my own escapism, and all that. So all of that is kind of written into this song. And at the same time as all that was happening, I was working in the family courts in London, and I was listening to magistrates talk about the experience of children within warring parents. So there's a little bit of that sprinkled into this song as well. It's about a child who's trying to get away from a bad home life, and they imagine an escape ship that they can get away on. So there's loads of like little layers that went into that one song, but none of them were nice. To be fair, none of them were good.
It turned out to be a brilliant song. And let's go ahead and move on to Panic Song. Tell us about that.
Panic Song I wrote. Why did I write Panic Song? Oh yeah. So basically, I was in this toxic relationship with this person I was in a business relationship with, and we lived in a house together. And I accidentally set the house alarm off one day, and stuff was so bad at home. Like if I did anything wrong, or if there was like a cup out of place or something, you get a massive email saying how terrible you were. And I just knew I was going to be in so much trouble because I'd set off this alarm, and I just thought, you can't think in color. The first line of the song, which is now gone right out of my head. You can't think in a straight line when the panic sets in, and you can't think in color when panic sets in. Like, you just can't work out how to turn the alarm off, or I couldn't work out how to get, how to stop this alarm going off. It's really weird. So that's what started Panic Song. It was me being in a panic that I was going to be in trouble for setting an alarm off.
All right.
It sounds so,
go ahead.
It sounds so ridiculous now when you say it back. You're like, why was all of that hard? It seems difficult to understand why that would be so panic-inducing, but hey ho.
No, because not only are you panicking because the alarm's going off, but you're also panicking because what kind of retribution you're going to get for setting the alarm off. So yeah, no, it doesn't sound weird at all.
Yeah. So
let's go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the reason this song actually made it onto the album was because it was a song that producer did not want to work on. Because I was still going through like who's going to own, like who's going to say they own what when we leave, kind of thing. Because that was also going to be an issue. Well, not because it was an issue, but because they were going to make it an issue. I probably shouldn't say any of this, to be fair, because it'll only come back and bite me later. As is the way of toxic people. Anyway, so this song stayed on the album. So the songs on the first album were all songs that either were brand new or ones that they didn't have anything to do with. So there wasn't going to be an argument about whether I could use it or not. And they didn't want to use the demo of Panic Song, and they told me how terrible the guitar parts were for it and all of this. And I actually ended up using the demo guitar parts. I didn't re-record any of it because I was just like, fuck you, you said it wasn't good enough. Well, I'm putting it on an album, bitch. Woo.
I love it.
So there
all
you
right, let's listen to it. Here's track number 2 off The Wolf on Board by Death Ingloria, right here on Outlaw Renegade Radio. Okay, you there?
Hey ho.
All right, yeah. So yeah, this is basically what it is. Kind of like, I think we actually did it the first time, because you remember you were on the last time we spoke, we were on the 16 at 7 show. Yeah. And I said, fuck that, I'm playing all 5 songs, where I usually play 4, and I was like, nope, I got to play all 5 because this is fucking brilliant. Yeah. And so that's basically, there's going to be a little bit of talking about what we talked about before, but I really kind of just chose one album. And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Just remember that we are also on my Twitch channel, so everyone can hear you at this point. But that's fine too.
All right, hey everybody, thanks for tuning in.
When I say everyone, I mean no one. There's like nobody watching. There says it's 2 viewers, but that's probably a lie. So yeah.
Well, when I re-release this, I will tag you and you can put it up. It'll be a Mixcloud thing, and you can play it on your. Or you can put it on your pages and your fan pages and all that. Personal.
Yeah, I will jam it out in every orifice. That's what I'll do. Jamming it out.
Yeah, and it's so good to have somebody, because there's a lot of, there's these long 3-4 minute pauses, If you've never, like I did a track by track album with someone who I'd never had on before, and like they would start talking. I was like, no, save that, save that. So it's so much easier to talk to someone in between that you're not, that you can have a separate conversation. I guess a lot of people can't do that. And so I was so glad because I was like, wow, we're going through two albums. Well, I'm glad it's Galindo because that way I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, most people are boring as fuck, man. Boring as fuck.
Oh my God. Who is it? I had a guy who's a good friend of mine,
Remember, you
and
are
we,
live on Twitch before you say anything.
I don't give a fuck what I say. You should know me better than that. I'll even say his name. Goddamn Gene Devereaux. Good friend of mine. I did before it was called Track by Track, I did an album premiere for him. And we talked for like 3 hours at a fucking time, every night there for a while. And about everything. He gets on the radio, he fucking freezes up and starts answering like yes and no. And I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Uh,
Oh, yeah. So I ended up having him. I would say, okay, tell me about the next three songs. I'll hang up and call you back. So, so yeah, not everybody's got the art of conversation down.
no, but yeah, it is hard. And do you know what? I have to say that most interviewers are boring as well. So you're bringing it as well as you're getting it. Quite frankly.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of my job. So I like to get it right, and I tell people, and what's really fun is is that you get to talk to an old friend that you haven't talked to in a while. So it's that you just got to know how to jump into and out of. So and then one band I'd never done before, and I just told him that I was going to put him on hold, and I would come back to him before the song. And I got to hear some really good conversations in between, and I'm like, wow, I wish there was a way I could record the off-air conversations because they were actually as good or better than some of the ones we had on air. So maybe I'll figure that out. I'm not very technical, whatever.
Technical. Well, you can just use Zoom for that. Just use Zoom, and then you can like
I don't
broadcast
want to be on
Zoom.
fucking
You
camera.
don't
I hate being
have
on
you
camera.
don't have to be on camera. You just put a picture of yourself up and let them be on camera.
Yeah,
Literally,
maybe next time.
I've got
When Death Ingloria 3 comes out, we'll do it.
a. Let's do that. I mean, I've got a
But
pic.
I'm not going to tell any other motherfucker that. That's
No.
for sure. Okay, hey, we got 28 seconds, so there's going to be a bit of silence.
All right.
All right, that was Panic Song off the Wolf on Board by Death Ingloria. Right now we got Galena kind of giving us a track by track commentary because that's what the name of the show is. Galena, let's talk about As the Dark Night Rise, track 3 of Wolf on Board.
Yeah, so you'll remember when that fella dressed up as the Joker and went into a cinema and killed a bunch of people, right? You'll remember that.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with those in America, but yes, I remember that a
Yeah.
lot.
And then there's a fella in Norway, and I don't name them for the reason that we don't really want to give them any more notoriety, so I never use their names.
Sure.
But there's a fella in Norway who considered himself a knight of Christendom, basically going around trying to save Norway for Christians, basically, and went and shot up like a political. It was like a Labour Party camp, but it was for young Muslims.
Wow.
So he basically ran riot and killed a bunch of kids on an island. So I took those two characters and the first because I took those two characters and wrote a song about them. So the guy from this American cinema is the first verse, and then the Norwegian guy is the second verse, and it's the song's mostly about how they understand that in society we will idolize the villains more so than the victims, and how both of them see themselves as some sort of knight. One is a dark knight, and one is considers himself a religious knight, but actually they're both dark knights because they go and kill a bunch of people. So it's not really related to Batman at all, but it just seemed right in the context to do it that way. And
And go ahead.
sorry, and as I told you before, in the story that we're presenting with this album, we create a miseries virus, and the miseries virus makes everyone so suicidal that they kill themselves and everyone else around them. So we're basically suggesting that these two characters have the miseries virus, but it was already evident. You know, humanity already had the miseries virus knocking around, and then the new virus that came out just magnified that. So that's how it could run through the population so fast, because it was kind of already knocking around anyway.
Okay. Uh, and if you go back to the Batman movie with the line that Harvey Dent said, and I know I'm going to fuck this up because it's live, but if you're a hero, you live long enough to see yourself become a villain.
Mm.
Kind of. So I don't know. Anyway, here's track 3 as Dark Knights Rise on Track by Track. We're featuring Death Ingloria. This is the Wolf on Board album, and this is track 3 as Dark Knights Rises right here on Outlaw Renegade Radio. Okay, you there?
Yeah, good.
Ah. Oh, so yeah, my transmission went out on my car Sunday,
Oh, really?
and yeah, and been dealing with mechanics, and they're just fucking crooks. They're,
Yeah,
they're the worst.
you have to. So basically, I found my parents always use like little mom and pop, like mechanics in the back streets. Never use a big chain. Never ever.
No, never. I do that even with everything in my life. Restaurants, I'm gonna go to a mom and pop place before I go to fucking Applebee's. You know,
Yeah,
the big
exactly.
chains are always my last. Fucking, I have to be starving to death to even go to. But yeah, that's what we usually use is a mechanic that is a total mom and pop. But I think the car is just so bad, and it's got so many miles on it that it's unfixable. But people are giving all these, they're just contradicting themselves all the time. So yeah.
Yeah, you just gotta keep it. Like, you have to like have somebody you see at birth. As soon as you get the car, you have to keep it with one person the whole way through the car's life. My car is my mum's old car, right? And it's like 20 years old or something now. Like,
Uh-huh.
and it's never failed its MOT. You know, it's yearly car check that is the
Oh
legal.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you know that you basically lived here, didn't you? So the MOT, which is like the annual car check we have in the UK, and it's never failed that, and it's like it still runs. I mean, it's got some. I may have driven it into the side of a wall. You know, it may not have the locks don't work. You know, there's bits. Cosmetically, it's not the best looking car now because it was my first car. But insides all work fine. So, what else do you want? That's basically it.
Yeah, that's this one, and the whole thing is now I'm kind of weighing. Yeah, do I get another car? And is it worth putting the 2,000 into a transmission when the car is only going to be worth 3 or 4 once I fucking do that? And it's almost 20 years old. It's a 2006, and it was my parents
Oh yeah.
as well. I got it from them, yeah, and. I don't think they did the best motor maintenance on it.
Well, how many
But
miles does it have? How many miles
oh
does it?
goddamn, 226. It owes us
What?
nothing.
What,
So
300? What?
yeah, hold on one second. We'll continue in a minute. Dark Knight, as Dark Knights Rise on the Track by Track show, we're spotlighting the Wolf on Board right now, and we got Galena with us, telling us kind of giving us commentary. Let's go to track number 4, Silent Running Engaged. Tell us about that one.
Right. So basically, in the story, our an AI has been put in control of all human processes because no human can be trusted to do it without killing everybody. So the AI starts to get into the system. So imagine it's weird. I wrote this in 2016, 2017, right? And it felt like very futuristic to think that an AI could like infiltrate the internet and then go through everyone's devices and then come up on your phone and all the rest. But I think if you anyone out there is like even looking at what AIs are doing right now, that is actually very likely to happen very, very soon if one of them gets let out, so to speak. So in our
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, so in our story, the AI gets let out. It turns up on people's phones, and it's turning up on computer screens, and it's trying to learn language for the first time. And it's the songs. I wrote this song in Japanese because I was trying to learn Japanese at the time. I don't speak Japanese. I'm terrible at it, but I really wanted to sing in Japanese because I actually really enjoy singing in Japanese. It's a lovely language. So the AI is learning normal speech, but it's using Japanese to do it. So it's the lyrics are like, "My name is, where am I from, how far is home, tonight, good night, goodbye," all these things. Just so if you wanted to learn Japanese, you could use Silent Running Engaged as your starting kit, so to speak, because there's a lot of like very common needed phrases in it. So that's the story. It's the AI coming into our phones and onto the internet for the first time, and it's learning to speak itself, but it's using Japanese as its training language.
And I can see what you said, going back to what you said earlier, that sure, in 2016, we knew a little bit about it. But now, I mean, just over the past year, and being a writer and being an artist, as you are, and me being a writer, it scares the fuck out of me, like that kids are now having their essays written by AI, and the pictures that it's creating, like, that fucking fat, bloated blonde slob that was our president. I refuse to say his name. And that cunt. But anyway, when he was supposedly getting indicted over here, they had pictures that really was so realistic that somebody just said, show me a picture of Trump getting arrested. And it looked like any kind of photo, which you could not have even imagined that it would be to that point in 2016.
No, exactly. It felt really futuristic. It doesn't. I have a really good story. I have a really good anecdote for you on this. You're going to find this really funny, right? So, whoever runs Chat GPT, right, set them a task to like give them a bit of money to see if they could set themselves up as a business, right? Just a little tiny bit of money. So the Chat GPT is like working through the system. I don't know what business it was. I can't remember. It wasn't anything too massive or whatever. And the Chat GPT came up against, the little catchives that say, "Are you are you human?"
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Are you a robot?
Are you a
Yeah.
robot, right? So ChatGPT couldn't read it because it couldn't read it, right? So it went on to
Mhm.
TaskRabbit and employed a human with the little bit of money it had to read the catchive for it, right? And the human actually messaged the AI, and said, "Are you an AI? And that's why you're asking me to do this?" And the AI lied and said, "No, I'm visually impaired human. So I'm not human, but I'm a visually impaired, so I can't read it." So the human did the catchive for it, and so then ChatGPT got into whatever program it was trying to get into. That's
That is disgusting and scary at the same time.
I
You're
welcome.
you're kind of you're kind of like the Philip K. Dick Nostradamus.
I know, right? I mean, nobody wants my second. Well, we'll get on to my second album, but if I have seen this far into the future of my first album, we are fucked for my second album. Woo wee, woo wee.
All right, here's track 3 off the Wolf on Board. This is Silent Running Engaged right here on Outlaw Renegade Radio. Okay, you did the first half of this, because like talking to you without my cans on,
Oh
you
yeah.
can't. It's but when I have my can, and so I realized that they were still around my neck because I was engrossed in the conversation we had before.
Noise,
But
noise.
yeah, Yeah, exactly.
So
So
someone on my
go
Twitch
ahead.
stream has just said, So the person is called I am Dingwall. Welcome, I am Dingwall, and they're saying that what we've just chatted about is how Skynet got created.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. I've been telling
mm,
motherfuckers that for years. Like, did you motherfuckers not see Terminator or Terminator 2 or any of the other ones? Come on. They told us about this. And this is just, I mean, the Wolf on Board just tells us even more about it. So, yeah,
yeah,
like you'll have little colonies here in a couple of years where you're the cross figure of it.
we can only hope, really. I welcome our AI overlords. Honestly, I do. Humanity's crap. I mean, nobody will be happier to see it go than I will. So,
Oh no, that's what I've always said. I, especially living in America, I was like, I cannot wait to sit by with a big bucket of fucking popcorn as the whole thing crumbles, while I laugh, while I just fucking laugh hysterically. Because it kills me that people are so dumb that they think that any politician has their constituent in mind.
they
They
really,
don't give a
nah.
fuck. They just want money. They know this is the easiest job in America, and I'm sure probably anywhere, most countries, that you don't have to have any experience. That you can be the dumbest of the dumb, and still control millions of people. So yeah,
You just have to be the
I can't
king
wait to
rat.
watch it.
The
Yeah,
politicians are a rat pile. So the person at the top is just the worst of the, like, maybe the best rat. Just like being the best worst person. That's literally their qualification the majority of the time. You're the best worst rat, unless you're Biden, of course, who just seems to be used as a fucking holding place his entire life. Like, oh,
yeah.
we need a fucking straight white man in this job, so it doesn't matter who it is. Ah, just put him in there. That's fine. Off you pop. He doesn't even know where he is anymore, does he? I mean,
I don't think that. I think he's getting worse and worse. But I will also say that as someone who's been in politics most of their life because of Hunter S. Thompson, he has really done a lot in 2.5 years for the good. But I mean, when there's so much bad and you weigh it out, you kind of got, whoa, wow. Okay, hey, we got 14 seconds. Hold on.
ooh, okay.
All right, that was solid running engaged. That was track 4 of the Wolf on Board by Death Ingloria. We have on with us Galena. Galena, let's jump into the Anomic Life, track 5.
Okay, this one is quite weird and funny all in its own, right? Because when I wrote the song, I didn't write it for this album. I actually wrote it for someone's wedding. I was invited to play a wedding, and I thought, oh, maybe I should write a custom song for them. Maybe I should do that. And this is the song that came out because I don't like to actually restrict whatever comes out of my head. It just comes out the way it comes out, and that's it. So this song never got sung at the wedding, and I'll tell you why. Because it's about a young guy who's very disconnected from everything, and is basically talking about the number of ways that he could be killing himself rather than living. And I just didn't think that was appropriate for a wedding. You know,
Especially for the fucking groom.
exactly. Well, I don't play a lot of weddings. I think how many weddings have I played? I've probably played like 4 weddings, but only as like a friend who's asked to play something. I don't really play covers or whatever. I don't, I'm not in a wedding band or whatever. But I have played a number of weddings randomly, and I just didn't think that was appropriate. So it never actually got played at the wedding. So it went on this album. And to link it back to the story, it's about the captain of the ship has now realized that he's very depressed, and he probably has the miseries virus, and he's going to kill himself. That's pretty much it. And he's trying to work out like how he's going to do it. And
Okay.
he's basically become the thing of his biggest fear. He's become his own villain in a way as well, tying it back into like the idea of Batman and all that. He's essentially become the villain of his own story because he's just a bit depressed. But all of humanity have been trained at this point that if you get depressed, you've probably got the miseries virus, and therefore you're about to go completely crackers and kill everybody. So he had no chance, to be honest. No chance at all. Poor lad.
Now, has the person that asked you to play the wedding, do they know this story? And
I don't think so. I don't think so. But in fairness, they asked me to play Black by freaking Pearl Jam at their wedding. So, maybe I should have done
Jesus.
this.
Yeah, what the fuck at that point, just and follow it up with all apologies for Christ's sake.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, here's track 5 off The Wolf on Board, the first of 2 albums that we're going to spotlight by Death Ingloria. Here is track 5, The Anomic Life, right here on Outlaw Renegade Radio. All right, I love hearing these stories.
Do you know what?
They're so good.
This is like the second time ever someone has asked me to do a song by song, and the first time I was like, I don't know what to say. What am I saying? I don't know. But I think I've got it down now. I've got around it. I think I know.
Oh
so
my God, I had one last week. Goes to Sunset, which are a great bunch of guys. They kind of they do a 80s glam metal kind of sound, but they do it well. And every song they talked about, they didn't tell the stories behind the song. They just kind of like gave technical things like about writing the song, and they didn't tell the stories behind the lyrics. They said, well, this is kind of like all the other songs. And I was like, why in the fuck did I have you on? But when you're like, see, I tried to pre-record the first one. It was with Rich Ragany, and we did 2 hours. He is the talkingest motherfucker I've had. He gave me the background on everything. And so I played it back, and there was problems in the initial recording, so it sounded like we were underwater. And luckily, he redid it with me a couple of weeks later, and it was 2.5 hours. And so I said, I will only do stuff live. I've got this sensor in my head that if I don't see both of those lights on the board, then if I only see the green light, then I have to see the red light as well. But the green light tells me I'm live, and it kind of keeps me in some kind of order, like, hey, I can't re-record this. This is all going out live. But I can't do that in pre-record because it's just going to go out live then. So I said, fuck it. I'm doing everything live now. If I fuck up, it'll be like a regular radio show. It's not like my listeners expect a perfect fucking show or anything.
No. Well, that's it. And plus, it saves on editing time. I mean, I edit a lot of stuff for clients, and it's hard work, man. I'm just like, you don't have the budget for this. Just do it live. Just do it live and just go with the problems.
Oh my God! And see, I've stopped drinking, and I had to. And one of the big helps. And I'm not saying I've quit drinking. I've quit drinking to lose weight, but and I drank a lot of fucking heavy beer, and I had to edit one that I was drunk. I had started getting drunk towards the end of, and I was like, I will never even sniff a glass of wine before I get on the air. And I think about all the live shows that I did, pretty fucked up, and never interviewing a guest so much. But yeah, and editing is a motherfucker. I mean, it is one of the hardest things to do. I mean, it's just so time consuming. It took me like 4 hours to edit a 2-hour show.
Yeah. Thing is, like, you've got a really like feisty personality, so I feel like you don't really need alcohol. But I'll be honest, I have to drink while I'm doing like these interviews because I'm terrible.
Oh, sure.
I'm so bad at talking about myself. So I'm like, I don't know, it's shit. You'll be like, what's this song about? I don't know. I was fucking just depressed one day, and that's what I wrote about. So that's the kind of thing that. So now I've learned that if I'm going to be in my own studio and we're going to have a long thing and we're going to get on with Michael, then I'm not like, I have, what do you call it? Hard salsa in a bottle. And that gets you through. I mean, it's not a lot, but it stops my brain from going, you're fucking shit, love. You're shit. Everything about you, what you do is fucking crap. What are you doing? So it puts that demon to bed, and now I'm just allowed to be me.
See, if I could control the speed of my drinking, I could do that probably, but I can't. I just keep
Yeah.
drinking and drinking. And 2 hours later, I'm fucking shit faced. Hold on, we're going on. All right, that was number 5. And number 5. Off of The Wolf on Board. And it's the first of 2 albums that we are featuring on our track by track spotlighting. And we have Galena giving us commentary. Let's jump into track 6 off the first album. Blackwater Rushes In. One of my favorite songs off this one. Because you got to remember, and we've talked about this, I had no idea. And Death Ingloria 2 was the first one I heard. And I immediately went, what the fuck? How much shit does Death Ingloria have? I've got to listen to it all. And so by the time I think I actually got you on the show on Death by Admin, I knew a little bit about it. But so I'm just taking these songs, and that's what's great. You don't need to know the story. I'm glad I do, and I'm as I said off the air, it's so cool to hear them. But you don't have to know the stories behind them. They are wonderful songs, and that is just another whole thing altogether.
Hmm. Yeah. So Blackwater rushes in. There's a number of facets.
I like the response. Hmm.
Yeah, I thought we went
Go
off track.
ahead.
I was just pulling us back on the track. Just back on track. I mean, what are you supposed to say when someone's blowing smoke up your arse? What do you say to that? I don't know. Thanks. Love it. Let's move on. So the wolf. No, Blackwater rushes in. A number of contexts and layers to the song. So let's stick to the story first. So in the story, our captain has discovered that he is depressed. He thinks he's got the miseries virus, and he is about to kill the last of humanity because he believes where everyone on his ship has the miseries virus, and it would be nicer for them to just die now rather than have to go through killing each other by their own hands, basically. So he aims his ship to a planet and he goes for it. And then, like when stuff starts going wrong around humans, there's kind of a sense that something's going wrong. You might not be told that your plane is in trouble, but that feeling would slowly move through the plane, and you'd all kind of start being a bit uneasy. So they start feeling that the cabin's getting hot, on the spaceship because they're entering an atmosphere of a planet. And so they kind of come to the conclusion, everyone on the ship, which is a colony ship, by the way, it's got kids, it's got dogs, it's got the last of humanity on it, and that last bubble is good in hundreds of people. It's not small. And they basically realize that they're about to die and they can't get out, so they all start screaming and like slowly getting more and more scared that something's wrong, and we basically follow that tunnel down with them right into the point of contact with the planet, and it builds up. The song slowly builds up, and that's the story. But at the same time I was writing this, there was like a block of flats called Grenville. I don't know if you've heard about this, where the builders put cladding on the side, which made this whole tower block of residential flats like just a big tinderbox. And basically the whole place caught on fire and loads of people died because they couldn't get out. The fire system wasn't great, and everyone was kind of trapped within the building. And that had happened just as I was writing this song. So it's also about these people getting trapped in a building and then just knowing that they're about to die. They can't get out and they can't do anything about it. And then for the video, because I write essays about my songs, right? So I was looking into corporate manslaughter and all that. And then I started putting comparisons with that into other things. So there was a time in the 1960s, about a place called Aberfetti in Wales, where a school was completely. It was a landslide. Let me start that again. there was a coal mine, and when they take stuff out of the coal mine, they put it up on a hill for some reason, and that hill
I've
got
heard about this
so
story, this
heavy.
exact story. Yeah.
Yeah, and then at one time there was heavy rain, and the whole hillside fell onto a school and killed every child in the school. And it's the reason we have health and safety laws in the UK. It's actually that event that started, like, we need rules and guidelines on how we do stuff and industrial stuff. So it's like putting all those catastrophes into one song, but then thinking about it from the person that's in that catastrophe. Something terrible has happened to a bunch of humans, and they're all trapped together, and they're all about to die. So what would that sound like? And that's what this song is.
All right. Here is track 6, Blackwater Rushes In, right here on Outlaw Renegade Radio. All right. I had heard that story, but I think that maybe the Manic Street Preachers even did a song about it.
I think they definitely did.
Yeah,
I would say they definitely did. Yeah.
Then again, there's not too much to write about in fucking Wales except about rain.
Yeah, that and heroin, I'd imagine, which the Manic Street Preachers wrote about quite a lot, actually, I think, in their early albums.
Well, then again, Holy Bible is a fucking heroin-induced fucking roller coaster.
Yeah, it's good.
Fucking
It's so
rookie
good.
was. Funny story about that is I'd never heard of the Manic Street Preachers when I moved to London, and when I first moved there, I was in a pub I was living in Romford
I'm
when I first
sorry.
moved there.
I'm so sorry you had to go through
I
that.
know. Yeah, Essex is horrible. And so, Essex is a fucking shit pit. But I was living there, and I remember hearing it for the first time and going, "Who the fuck is this?" And everybody at the table looked at me like I was a fucking idiot, and they go, "You don't know who the Manic Street Preachers are?" I said, "No, never heard of them." And they were like, "You're fucking kidding me." And I was like, "No." And it was obviously Generation Terrorist, their first album, that I heard a song. And then one of my mates I used to go to the pub with, he gave me Holy Bible. That's when the CDs are still around. And I was like, I fucking love this band. And so, like, I remember the first time I got to see him. And this is like, at the time, 2001. So they had been out for over a decade. And I go see him in concert. And of course, I knew the story about Richie by that point. And it was just like, I was like a little kid going to see a concert for the first time. But then again, I felt the same way when I saw Stereophonics. I had never heard of them either. And I really loved them as well.
I don't think you can put those two bands in the same. Well, you can put them in the same bucket on the later albums of Manic Street Preachers, but certainly not in the earlier ones. And I quite like Stereophonics, but the Manic Street Preachers version of Suicide is Painless is amazing. And I used to.
It's incredible.
I used to watch MASH, and I didn't even consider that it was the same song. It's mad, and that song in itself is just amazing. Like, that is great.
Well, see, I'm a huge fan, Robert Altman fan, who directed the movie that came out before this series, and it was a song they wrote for Colonel Burns, and it was the guy sang it. Spear Tucker Jones sang it. So so many people didn't know that Suicide is Painless. They just got it MASH's theme because the television series didn't have lyrics, but I always knew it as having lyrics. So when I heard them do it, I was blown the fuck away, and how well they did it.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I was in love with that song. I think maybe I'll cover it at some point. I feel like if I was going to cover it, it does go with the Death Ingloria brand.
I'm gonna send you a video from the movie, and let you see what it was originally done as. A guy with an acoustic singing it to somebody who's having a fake suicide. They actually think it's a real suicide, but what they gave him was basically what they would have considered Viagra then. So anyway.
Well, that's a bad trick to play on someone.
All right, that was track number 6, Blackwater Rushes In off the Wolf on Board. The first of 2 albums we're playing by Death Ingloria, and we have Galena giving us commentary. let's go ahead and jump into the last song on the first album, Posthumous Suggestion.
Okay, so this song was written brand new for this album, and it was the last song because I like a lot of people. It was the last song that was written. I should finish that sentence before I jump into a new sentence, um, because I think a lot of people write. I can't speak about everybody, but I imagine that a lot of people write a bunch of songs and then they put them together, right? Where I can't do that. I have to work because I'm working to a comic book story as well. I have to think about it in a linear way. I can't really write the last song until I get there because I don't know what I'm going to want by the time I've got there. So I have to write the
Mm-hmm.
story and I'm not saying the story gets finished before the songs are finished. That doesn't happen either. It's not happening at the moment with the production of number three. So it's just like I like the song that's going to go in there, and then I'm going to write the story, and then I'm going to put it in. So this was the very last thing that was written for the first album, and I was kind of proud of the fact that I was still able to write good songs because I thought I couldn't really write anything good at the time. I was just like, this just came out and it was great. And basically, humanity has died, and what we've done is the spirits of the people on this ship have like floated into the ether of the universe, and they're basically having a bit of a song about no one should mourn us because we don't care about that anymore. We just like once you're dead, like don't like if you want to mourn someone, if you want to like have like a funeral or whatever, that's very much for your own mourning purposes. Like they can't hear you, they're gone, and they're trying to tell people left behind that there's no point in mourning them. Just get on with your life. But all of humanity's gone. There's nobody left to listen to it. Plus, they can't speak to the people that are left. So it's kind of like a catch-22. They're trying to tell people, don't mourn us, but no one can hear you anyway. So that's what that whole song's about. But the other very interesting thing about the creation of this song is that it's actually an answer to another song. It's an already existing song by Jimmy Eat World, and it's like "Hear You Me." I think is it "Hear You Me." Yeah, it is. Yeah, where they're talking about a woman who used to let them stay in their house, and when she died, they're like, "I hope angels bring you in," all this kind of stuff. And this is a direct answer to that. And the dead people are like, "There were no angels. Nobody brought us anywhere. We're just floating around now. We've just stopped. That's it. There's nothing after. So don't worry about it. So stop worrying about it in life because once you're dead, you're gone. So either make yourself happy now, essentially, because there is nothing after. And it's a direct answer to the Jimmy Eat World song.
All right,
Randomly.
ending the Wolf on Board. Here is track 7, A Posthumous Suggestion, right here on Outlaw Renegade Radio. Okay, there. Hold on one second. Okay, had to cue up the other songs to get ready for the next album. This is what perfect. This we, that's what kills me about fucking Rich Ragney. He didn't even have this many songs on one album, and and it was 2.5 hours. And oh my god, you don't. And I love Rags, man. He's a good friend. He's been on the show many fucking times,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wanted. You don't know how many times I wanted to say, "Cut to the chase, mate. Cut to the fucking chase." You know. I mean, I was like, you're like reading a Stephen King novel. You can go on about a fucking leaf for 45 fucking minutes, you know?
Well, creative types will do that to you. What can I tell you? That's just the way of him, really. Uh,
Yeah, well, and he's such a story-driven writer as well.
mm,
And, and I told him, I never tell anybody being a writer. I had been offered to teach a creative writing course one time, and I said, "You can't teach someone to write. You can give them the basic tools, but I also used to do stand-up comedy. I said, you can't teach somebody to be funny or how to write. You can give them basic tools, but if you're not funny, I could write you the best jokes in the world. If you don't have the timing and this general sense of comedy, you are not going to be a good comedian. And the same thing goes with writing. I feel if you're not, I can give you sentence structure and things like that, but you got to have it in your blood.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, just
but
kind of.
but what you do when you teach someone is that you basically have a class, and two of those people will be fucking awesome, and you're giving them the tools to do the thing, and everyone else is paying your mortgage, and that's the way you should look at it. Like, if you
Yeah,
get, that's it.
I don't know if you've ever seen a movie. It's one of my favorite movies. It's called The Wonder Boys.
Mm-mm.
It's got Michael Douglas and an all-star cast, and he's a college professor, and he has a student who is just an incredible writer, and he really sees something in him, and is just a madcap. It's a comedy. It's a drama. It's fucking brilliant. If I could suggest one movie, I suggest Wonder Boys to you.
Oh,
I think
nice.
you would totally love it.
Cool. Well, I will check it out. I'm gonna write it on my book. Wonder Boys. Wonder Boys.
So, do we have any Twitch followers listening, watching, or whatever you
No,
do?
no, I actually don't have a lot of people on Twitch. And normally I have a little group that come on at 9, but it's maybe just a bit early for them. Yeah, because I don't usually start streaming until 8, so people are probably still eating their
People are
dinner.
just, hey, well, they'll be able to come on at. You should have told me. We could have made it later.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah,
here
it's fine. It's fine.
we're going into the second part. Hold on. Yeah, that was final track from the first album by Death Ingloria. It was called The Wolf on Board. And you're listening to Outlaw Renegade Radio, and it is our track by track show. I am your host, Michael Palmer. We are spotlighting two albums, a very first for our track by track show. You couldn't have chosen one without the other. You actually could, couldn't you? Because they're two completely separate stories. So I guess you could have, but I had to feature the genius that is my friend Galena, who is on here giving a track by track commentary and telling us about it. So, moving on from, okay, I got a couple of questions right here.
Right.
I actually know there's, but the listeners may not. So, how does this process go? How do you do it? Do you have the comic and you write the songs to it? Do your songs help make up the comic? How does that process go?
It has evolved. It has evolved from, so the first album I had the songs and I made the comic around them, and then I added songs to fill gaps in the songs. Sorry, so I had some songs. I wrote a story that would fit those songs in, and then I had to write other songs to finish that story, and that's how the first one was written. The second one was more based on one song I had from years ago, and that's what I based the whole story on, and then I wrote new songs to fit that story. And then for the third album, which is in production, which is in demoing at the moment, I've started with the story, so I've written essentially the whole story, and now I'm going to pepper it with songs, but it's definitely going to be far more rock opera. We're going to try and get into theaters, and we're going to do something completely different. But so it really depends on which album we're talking about, because I can't do the same thing twice, basically. I get bored so fucking easy that I cannot. That's exactly the reason why each album is its own separate story, and then I restart another story on another album, because I get so fucking bored of one idea that I just have to move on to the next one. And
So now, go ahead.
I've basically written ideas up to like album 8, but we're only on album 3. Only on album 3. Actually, album 3 was supposed to be a different story, but I got bored of it too quickly, so it's been pushed back. It's been pushed back down the line.
So now when we come see you live, I have not seen one. Of course, you're across the pond. I can't wait till you come over here because you're
Mm.
fucking brilliant. But now, when you play these live, do you do song by song? Do you mix them up? Because I know there's animation behind you. How do you go about when you do your live shows?
It actually really very much depends on what the live show is and whether it's a support tour. So if I'm doing a support with another band, you get 30 minutes of someone else's audience. So
Hmm.
you have to fucking hit them with everything you've got. That you can't give them any rest because you've only got that 30 minutes and you need to make a big impression. So I did animate the second comic because the second comic has far more narrative than the first one does. And I have an actor, like a voice actor, and he talks over the animations um, in between the songs on the second album. But I made it in such a way that I can chop and change the songs on that set. So if it's just like a support tour where I have to hit everyone really quickly, then it's all the bangers. It's just like all the heavy bangers are in there. However,
Hmm.
if I play a Comic Con and I've maybe got like an hour long slot and the audience are anime, they're geeks, they're up for all this, then we can throw in the ballads and we can throw in the actual songs from the album, or we can add songs and just make the whole thing longer. But essentially everyone sees the animated second comic in its full in our set at the moment. And then the songs may, depending on the show, may be from the first album or the second album. They're interchangeable and they were made that way. So the production on both albums is exactly the same. That's not true. It's not exactly the same. The mixing and mastering of the two albums are exactly the same, so that you can play them together and the drums all have the same sound, the bass all has the same sound. They may not have been recorded the same way, but they all actually sit together exactly the same, so it sounds like a full, like both albums could be conceived, if you wanted, as one big long album because they're both half an hour long, and we can play them all together or we can play them separately, and that's the way they were designed.
All right. So let's dive into Death Ingloria 2, which is Death by Admin. And the first song is Battle States. First of all, kind of did like you did before. Tell us the story about the concept, because each one you write, you have a different concept. So tell us about the concept of Death Ingloria 2, Death by Admin.
All right, so I always I have to start at the beginning of this one. So I always thought, right, that being like a female guitarist with a female voice, I'd get a lot of female art fans, right? I thought that'll be it. It'll be like we girls. That'll be my fan base, and I was so
Hmm.
fucking wrong. I was just like the I was so wrong. So my fan base is 25 to 35 year old guys, right? Which is great. I mean, I love them. I love them. I'm not saying anything bad. It was just completely different to what I thought people would like when I started out. So I decided that I would write my second album would be about someone of that exact age group because they had shown me so much appreciation for a band starting out. They bought everything. They come to my shows. So I basically wrote, not basically, I absolutely wrote a song for my fan base, which was about this guy called KK who works in an office and he hates his job and he doesn't really pay attention to what he's doing in his day to day work. He's just taking a job to have a job, and he doesn't really hasn't really delved into what the company he works for does. And then over a series of minor admin errors as we go through his like day to day life, he accidentally destroys the world by setting off all the nuclear warheads, but he doesn't ever realize he's done it until everything gets destroyed, which is a bit weird. So while he's so the story takes two parts. So in the comic, there like page one is like him being coming into being working in this office, but he gets so bored that he starts daydreaming, and so page two is the video for the first song, Battle Stations. And so all the songs are his daydreams about like terrible things that have happened to him in his past that have led to him being so disconnected that he doesn't care about what he's doing day to day anymore. He's just trying to survive. As random as that
I,
is.
I think All right, and here it is. Here's track one of Death Ingloria 2, Death by Adman. Here's Battle Stations, right here on Outlaw Renegade Radio. Okay.
I think it's kind of a shame that we didn't actually cover what Battle Stations was about. And that was just we did the
Well,
story, but
yeah, well, no, we'll do that when we go back on. Hold on, I got to write that down because I'll totally forget it. Me and he'll start talking about goddamn transmissions.
Yeah, exactly. Do we have a time limit on this show? I mean,
no. Okay.
oh, the other thing is because we're on Twitch, I can give you the video off Twitch, and then you can show what you guys talk about in between the songs.
Oh yeah, can you really?
Of course,
Oh, man,
yeah, of course.
So great.
I'll just download
Yeah, I
it.
gotta get into Twitch. I'm just so old and don't care. Like literally when we finish this show, I will go to my program, and I never listen to that because I can't stand the way my voice sounds. So I literally put out what our listeners. I don't try to erase any mistakes. I literally put it and then I export it to MP3 and then I put it straight onto Mixcloud. Mistakes and everything in there because I don't give a fuck. I just I don't care.
Yeah, so
and I'm too lazy to edit. So
yeah, I get it. But what I'll probably do is like download it from Twitch and then whack it onto YouTube, and then you can just have it from the YouTube. You can just like point people if you want to see what gets talked about between songs. Just rock on over to this YouTube channel.
Well, see, I need to do that with everything. I got to figure out how to do that. I might call you up when I do decide to do it. Could be tomorrow. Could be fucking 5 years from now.
I think knowing you, it's gonna be a long time. I've got some time. I've got some time.
So yeah, I put things off a little bit.
I love it. I love it. I send you a message, and I'm like, he's never gonna fucking answer that. He's never ever gonna answer that. And then like it's like
I'm the world's worst, man.
yeah, it's like I have your attention for all of like 30 seconds. You'll answer it, and then we can't move forward because you'll never answer the next thing. You'll ask a question or something, and then I'll answer it, and I'm like, yeah, he's not gonna answer that now. We're fucked.
I'm the worst. And even it comes down to like texting. I tell all my friends, I was like, do not. I had to make my wife an admin on Outlaw Renegade Radio because I had all these unanswered things because so many people send me stuff there. And on the website, it tells you submit your link here, but they always send it to me. So I get fucking tired of it and I just don't ever answer them. I've probably missed a lot of great bands that way, but
fuck them if they can't read. Fuck them.
Yeah. so I tell everybody, I was like, don't send me anything. I'm going to call me, motherfucker. I am not one to do it backwards. So anyway, hey, we got 10 seconds. Hold on. All right, that was track one off Death Ingloria 2, Death by Adman. Hey, you were going to tell me some more about the first song we just listened to, Battle Station.
Yeah, because this song I wrote a couple of years ago, a good number of years ago. So I don't know if you remember, but there were riots in London back in the day. It wasn't that long ago. It was like probably like so I've been with my husband 10 years, 8 years ago because of maybe it was just before that. 12 years ago, 13 years ago, there were riots in London. Basically, a drug dealer, or sorry, I shouldn't say that. A fella got shot by the police, right? And I know in America, fellas get shot by police all the time. But here in the UK, it's really rare that the police would shoot anybody, right? And they shot...
Well, they don't have guns, do they?
Well,
I mean, for the most part.
For the most part, they don't have guns, that's right. So basically, like armed police stopped someone they considered to be a drug dealer. Whether or not there was a gun in the car, we don't know. But the police shot him. And London fucking rioted for like a week. Maybe it wasn't a whole week, but it was a long time, and it was really terrifying, and everything closed down. And I was working at the civil service at the time, and they basically sent us all home early because they were like, they're going to riot again tonight. But I think what had happened was like people who were involved rioted, and then it just became, let's riot because we can get away with it. They worked out, like society worked out they could just be fucking dickheads and the police weren't going to stop them. So they started setting fire to business. Like, so many people got shot in the head that week because the police weren't coming. Like, you could do whatever you wanted and the coppers weren't going to come because there was so much happening in the city. And London is like the biggest, but London is the biggest city. It's like a huge city even for Europe. Like, it's massive. I don't even remember how many millions live here. But for the whole city to basically fucking go on its head over like 3 nights, it was mad. It was just crazy. But because of the place I'm from in Northern Ireland, you have to shut that shit down real quick because I've seen it get out of hand, and for it to last months, or years, in fact. So Battle Stations is about that time when it's just like it felt like a real time when we were going to have to fight for our own street. Does that make sense? I mean, it's mad.
Oh, it
It's
totally
mad.
makes sense.
So we all in our house we packed go bags, like just ready to run if we had to, and like we were probably far too paranoid, but like a mobile phone shop at the end of our road got burnt out and robbed, and we were just like, if they fucking come for us, we're ready to just fuck off, and it was just fucked up. It was fucked up. And it was just people. It wasn't a political thing, really. It may have started this way, but really it was just people smashing shops and stealing shit. And I'm not saying that's a cultural thing. I'm not blaming anyone because everyone in London was a fucking at it. It just became apocalyptic for 3 days in London. It was so weird and mad. And because of being from Northern Ireland, where this shit had gone on for years and years and years, and the reason I'd left Northern Ireland, I wasn't prepared to be scared about it anymore. I wasn't prepared to let it take over where I had moved to. So this was like my protest song against people just fucking shit up for no fucking reason. And it made me really angry. So I wrote this song, and that's what Battle Station's about.
All right. I'm glad that we went back to it. When we were off there, Galena was like, I wish I had said what it's about. I said, you can say whatever the fuck you want to. I said, just let me make a note to remind me, or we'll go straight into track 2. Which we're getting ready to do right now. We're going into track 2. We use it as a weapon. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so this song again was written quite a long time ago, and as I told you before about that toxic professional relationship I was in. So by this album, I basically decided that fuck it, I was going to use songs that I had written in that period. And this one, it was actually a really old song that I had written. And back, I don't know you'll remember this, but like in the early noughties, in the late 90s, early noughties, straight edge punks, specifically like hardcore straight edge punks. The bands, I don't remember many of the bands, but Terror was one that I associate with this. They were completely straight edge, and they were fucking angry. They were so angry. They used to come to the venue. I used to be a stage manager in a 200 capacity music venue outside of London, and all the circuit bands used to come there. So we had Skin Dread, Kings of Leon, it doesn't matter what genre, they all used to come here before they played London. And we had a lot of hardcore straight edge bands would come and play there, and the kids that came to those shows would just fight everybody. They were so angry, mostly because they didn't drink, I think, and anyone who did drink was just fucking shit. It was so weird. I don't know if you remember the straight edge scene that happened around then, but
sure.
Yeah, so I basically wrote a song about people using music genres as a weapon. How can you hate someone because they don't like your music, or how can you hate someone because you're straight edge and they drink? But everyone wants to listen to a band and have fun. I don't understand how you can use these cultural road signs or cultural labels to hate each other. It seems so random to me. And again, coming from Northern Ireland, where people had used religion to fucking fuck each other over for as long as I could remember, as long as I was alive, then it made no sense to me why these people would create tribes to hate each other so badly. And that's what Use It As a Weapon is about using cultural labels to hate each other. So in the music video, we used football people to describe that, because that's a very simple way of showing two
Very
tribes.
common. Yeah.
It's common, right? And then in the music video, we explore the fact that two football teams are in a bar and they get into a bit of an altercation, and someone punches someone else and they die from one punch. And we kind of highlight the reason, the ability that this might happen. So be careful not to just get into bar fights, because loads of people get punched and they hit their heads on the way down and they die. And I had to cover that story as part of this song, because in the civil service, I worked with a guy. That exact thing had happened to his friend a couple of months before I left. So I thought it was worth bringing up in the story and just highlighting that, fuck, people die so easily, and it could be for like a pub fight, or just because someone doesn't like straight edgers, or they don't like people who drink, or they don't like people who are into punk when they're metalers, or whatever.
All right.
Yeah. So
Great intro. Here's track 2 off Death Ingloria 2, Death by Admin, right here on Outlaw Renegade Radio. We use it as a weapon. Okay. I mean, I have noticed that so much in like the metal scene over here in America. If you don't like it, and it's not even just the metal genre, it's the subgenres that, like, if you like, say I would listen to somebody like Black Sabbath and Judas Priest, but if I didn't listen to motherfuckers that go raw kind of thing, then they just act like it. I'm like, it's called being eclectic, you ignorant motherfucker. So
yeah, exactly. It's fucking mad. It's mad. I mean, I don't know what the battles are about nowadays. I'm sure there's genres that don't like each other.
I'm sure. Like when I'm kind of a big guy. I'm like fucking 6'2", and I had my fair share of brawls in a bar, and I saw somebody get killed in a bar fight. And I do my best not to fight. Plus, I'm 53, so I don't want to be fighting nobody right now. And it's so much easier just to walk away. But that was my main thing. I was like, how many people could I have got in a bar fight with and hit them, and they hit their head on a corner of a jukebox? I'm in jail for the rest of my fucking life. You know?
Yeah. Do you know what? When I was a kid, we got into some scrape. There was like 2 times where shit could have gone fucking south so easily, and it was by blind luck it didn't. Like people getting beaten up, and then their friends were like, "Oh, just go out with a Stanley knife and fucking find them." And I'm just so glad no one found the people that other people were after. You know what I mean? It's like it could.
Yeah.
I can see easily how the kids are out shooting each other or stabbing each other here in the UK. I can see how it's so easy done, and you just don't appreciate how fast stuff will escalate. And it doesn't even need to be any intention behind it. It's so mad.
Yeah, I mean, every fight, besides maybe not even a handful that I ever got into my life. All the ones like as a teenager, the only fights I got into was people. If I saw somebody getting bullied, I would go take up for them immediately. And I was like, say that shit to me, motherfucker, and see what the fuck happens. And but as an adult, I look back and I go, I really got in a fucking violent altercation over that. It's just like, and so, and luckily, the older I got, because there's still plenty of redneck motherfuckers out there that do it every Saturday night at some fucking dive bar, I'm sure. But yeah,
but it happens here. I have a friend who thinks he's kind of tough, and he's from a tough like East London family, and they all go out on a Friday night and Saturday night to have a bit of a rock. That's just what they do. He'll literally go out in a bar, and probably not so much now, but when he was a kid, would just like tap a big guy on the shoulder and go, "You're fucking ugly, love," and then just start a fight with him because he wanted to have a fight with people.
Wow, I never was like that. It would be like somebody would have to disrespect the woman I was with before I'd fought him or some shit, or like if somebody just said something really racist or something that just wasn't cool, I'd punch him.
Yeah.
But I always had a cause. I didn't just tap a motherfucker on the shoulder and go "fuck your mother" and punch him.
Yeah, but I mean, people across and like people do that. It's obvious. If you go down the high street in some cities in the UK, there's like people just are out for a bit of a
Yeah.
rock. Nobody wants to kill each other or actually put anybody in hospital, but they want to have a bit of a hoo ha, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But as generations go on, it gets so much worse now. And plus, you go to jail a lot easier over here for it. Hold on, we're getting ready to go on. Hold on. That was track number 2 off the Death Ingloria 2 Death by Admin. We use it as a weapon, and you are listening to Track by Track by 2, because we are spotlighting 2 albums by Death Ingloria. First for our station, and we got Delina on here giving us track by track commentary. We are to track 3 on Death by Admin. Go ahead and tell us about this. I accept this state.
I accept this state. I'm just like, oh, yeah. So accept this state is about accepting the fact that your life is a massive void and you cannot get out of it. So our character lives in just darkness now. He doesn't feel connected to anybody. He doesn't like his lot in life, and he didn't ask to be born in the first place. So it's just about accepting the fact that you might live in darkness your whole life, and you're just gonna have to get over it. It's kind of like going into like, what is it, like that Buddha teaching? It's like all life is pain. What is, I can't, existence is suffering. That's what it is. All existence is suffering, and you're just gonna have to fucking accept it.
I agree with that.
There we go.
If I believed in any kind of religion, I think I would be a Buddhist. But they're as full of shit as the rest of us. They only word it better. But anyway, here is track. I lost track. Track number 3. I accept this state right here on Outlaw Renegade Radio. All right.
Yeah, so we've got Pete in the chat now over on Twitch. We've got 3 viewers on Twitch now. I told you.
How y'all doing? Hope you're enjoying this. I'm enjoying doing it.
They're all out putting their kids to bed, and now they finally get online. See, you have to do it after 8 o'clock. It's fine. It's all good.
Yeah, I could have done this any time.
Well, I thought you had to be on the radio at the right time.
No. The only time I really do it like that is when it's 16 at 7, because that is just I'm so OCD that. But yeah, we could have really done this anytime. So I'm sorry I didn't really convey that.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. If it goes on
We
YouTube,
always get more. I'm going to be replaying this in America at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here, because I mean, my friend Gene that I was talking about from Buzz Factor, he said, "Who's this?" And I sent it your link, and he called me back and he says, "I won't be able to listen to it live, but I'll definitely listen to the replay." And his sister, oh, we're on Twitch. I can't say that.
Don't mention his sister. That's fine. Don't mention his sister.
Yeah, not his sister, his wife. I'm sorry. I should have said his sister and went on with it, but his wife she's the singer of a band called Into the Cold, which is a lot like you in the fact that, well, not a lot, but very similar, is that she got this book of paintings and wrote a song about each one of the paintings. And I will send you a link to them. Their first album is absolutely brilliant. And her brother was, we'll put it, very famous. And I will text you who it was.
Ooh.
But she absolutely fucking loved your stuff.
Oh,
and so yeah.
So you should tell them that I'm available for tour. I'm touring. I'm available.
They broke up now. She's very one of those artists that she got bored with it, and so she stopped.
Oh, okay.
But she still does other musical stuff. But yeah, if they ever did, that you would fit in so perfectly.
Oh
Yeah, she
yeah.
was in love with your stuff. So.
Oh, that reminds me. I have a tour announcement that we haven't told anybody, and I've been given the go ahead to give it to you first on this show.
All right. Well,
So we could
go
do
ahead.
that.
Let me go ahead and tell you now. Go ahead and have that ready because at the end of oh, I forget the final song, Nuke from Orbit, I think it's called.
Yeah, yeah,
Nuke
yeah.
Shot from uh at that's when I'll give you a time to push merch, push everything, get tour dates out there. So be sure to have a list.
Okay,
Unlike
cool.
most people that I get who are already pissed at the end of my show and they're just going, yeah, we're playing up north, mate. I sound like a pirate every time I try to do a UK accent. So, uh,
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good. Someone's just bought something off my shop, so you're obviously doing well. That's good.
all right.
Uh, oh yeah. Yeah. So it's an exclusive tour announcement that you're getting on your show. How about
I'm so excited about that because I would have always I love anything exclusive. The worst thing I hate is when somebody says like we're live on air and they'll go, oh, but I can't mention that yet. Well, then why the fuck did you bring it up then?
that? Yeah, people are
You
fucking
give me a
terrible.
fucking exclusive, yeah. Like, god damn, man.
People are the
But
worst. They're
the
literally
worst
the fucking worst.
they are. I'm not real into Slipknot. I like maybe their first and second album,
But
but no
pe-
song,
people equal
no.
shit.
Yeah, that is the fucking greatest song. I mean, I have listened to that song. It's the most of any Slipknot song ever. Okay, we're going on in 15 seconds. Hold on.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was track number 3. I accept this state off Death Ingloria 2, Death by Admin by Death Ingloria. On the line with me now, I have Galena. Let's jump into track number 4, The Ritual of Ridicule.
Ooh wee. Sorry, I said woo wee and then almost choked myself to death for some reason. So this song in the story um is about the fella, our protagonist KK, cannot find anywhere where he feels connected. He's always the outsider. No matter what he does, he's always the outsider. And I had a conversation with a guy who is a film director in a fetish club at like 4 a.m. on a Saturday night one time. And I had this idea for this song where I didn't really have a name for it yet. And then he was like, "Oh, I want to do this film about how we are so unconnected to each other, and the longer humanity moves on, the more layers of disconnection we have." And I'm like, that's exactly what I'm writing about. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna do a film. And I was saying, yeah, I think I'm gonna have something like, like risk or ridicule, as in you either become your own person or you risk being ridiculed. And then that kind of developed into the ritual of ridicule, which is the name that he wanted for his film, which could ever sometime come out in the future. I don't know. I don't even think it's in development. I don't know. I don't know anything else past the conversation I had with him. So I was like, the ritual of ridicule, that sounds exactly the kind of thing I'm trying to say. So I named the song the thing that we were talking about in the hope that he will use it as the theme of his film when he ever makes it.
Well, you need to copyright that, and then he will have no choice.
Well, I don't.
Say, hey, look,
Well,
well, no, you
it's not
just
about
say, hey,
copywriting.
look,
It's about
huh?
it's not about copywriting at all, but like just like we're all on this, we were talking about the same thing in two different artworks, and I just would like him to use the theme. If
Yeah,
he ever
that's what
brings
I'm
it out.
saying, though. If you copyright it, he has to.
Well,
So
I've released it,
tell him
so
you don't want any money from it. But yeah, I don't know. That's very American thinking, I
Yeah, it
guess.
is very American thinking. I'm more like we're all in it together. Let's collaborate, baby. Let's collaborate. That's
Yeah,
my
that's why I never have American bands on my fucking shows because they're a bunch of cunts. So
there we
anyway,
go.
on that note,
That's not racist at
not all of
all.
them.
Not
No,
racist at all. Not xenophobic at all.
that's not. Yeah, yeah, maybe xenophobic. Okay, I'll go with xenophobic. It's not racist. American's not a race, and if it would be, yeah, I wouldn't care if somebody was racist
Look,
towards
dude,
America.
there is only one race. Humans are the race. Everything else
Yeah, calm down, hippie.
is
Anyway, here's
genre specific. It's
uh,
designing a genre.
yeah, they have with that. Here's Drag 4 on Dead by Ad Man, the ritual of ridicule, right here on Outlaw Renegade Radio.
Oh, that conversation got too spicy real fast. So you just bailed out of that one.
Oh yeah, I had the emergency shoot on that one.
Wah! This is a
You know,
parasol.
I,
Ah!
you know what's great is because Facebook has become this thing that they go by words.
Mm.
Like you can't write white trash anymore, even if you're white. It doesn't matter anymore. And if you say something about America, so I fucked up their algorithm. And when I write something bad about America, I put America with three Ks and,
Oof.
instead of a C, and they haven't caught it yet. I'll be like here in America and put three Ks like KKK, like the Ku Klux Klan, and
Yeah.
so they haven't caught it yet. Yeah, you can't say nothing bad about any place, whether you're from there or not.
Yeah, somebody put a post up saying what are the slang term, what are the derogatory terms for white people, and they didn't have cracker in their list. So I basically responded on Facebook saying surely cracker is the most obvious, and I got banned from
Yeah,
Facebook for like I wasn't even calling it to anybody. I'm like, what?
yeah.
No, there we go.
I told a friend of mine, and I put 1,000 smiley faces or laughing emojis afterwards. But I said, next time I see you, I'm punching in your fucking face. No, 30-day ban right there.
Yeah, that's what you get. I mean, the more you laugh, the more they think you're serious.
Like I'm a maniacal person that's going
Yeah,
to punch in the
exactly.
face.
Right in the face.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that
now I just go ahead.
yeah, that's kind of where like maybe on Twitch it's a little bit better because like you have to like a lot. There's like a comedy. There's like a running comedy thing. Like if you say something a bit spicy, then you just go, can you? The FBI agent that's listening in on this show, that was a joke. You know. So you
Uh,
like you're being watched and you have to say everything is a joke afterwards.
Oh yeah, well, I don't do Twitter because being a writer, you can't tell me how many fucking things characters I can use, and I'm very long-winded on anything.
You're
So
like,
yeah, I
fuck
don't
you,
do it.
Twitter.
But I've seen like girls with shit in their vagina on fucking Twitter. I'm like, how the fuck is this on there?
Yeah, there's a lot of
And
porn on Twitter. Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
I was like, good God. Okay, we got 14 seconds. We always get to the 14-second mark. So hold on.
I should write longer fucking songs. That's what I should do.
All right, that was The Ritual of Ridicule. It was track 4 of Dead by Admin, the second album, EP by Death Ingloria. Right now we have Kalina. If you're just tuning in, you're way fucking late because we're on the last song of the second album. Where
Fucking
have you been?
losers. Fucking losers. Loser.
So I gotta tell you something before you tell me what it's about. Very first song I ever heard from you, and this is the one that it said I've got to listen to every Death and Gloria song ever written. And you would tell me, you was like, oh my God, everybody picks that song. And I was like, well, that's the one that was sent to me, so I had no choice. Did fall in love with the band though, and the project, I should say, and I'm so glad I did. So catch us up in the story. This is the last song. This is the last bit of KK's journey. Tell us about it.
So basically, there's two things happening at this point in the song. First of all, KK has been sent off to do a random admin job, which is actually a April 1st joke, but because he doesn't pay attention to what's going on in his office, he doesn't realize that his manager's taking the piss out of him. So he goes off to do this random job, and he basically wants the world to end. He hates his life. He hates his job. He's just basically wishing that the whole world would be nuked. And he didn't. He's wishing that the whole world would be destroyed so that he doesn't have to go to work again tomorrow. I'm sure. I mean, I've thought that loads of times. So, it would be better that the entire world was destroyed than I having to go to work. It's a very millennial thing to think. It's probably, I mean, I don't know if the new generation of kids think that. I'm not a kid anymore, so I don't know. But I think it was thought a lot about millennials, and we were all privileged and all that crap. Anyway, so while he's having this daydream about destroying the world, what he's accidentally done is set off all the nuclear warheads on the planet. So the world is literally about to be destroyed around his ears, and he doesn't even know he's done it. And his manager's getting shouted at by the military to like stop the nuclear warheads from being launched, and they don't know what's going on because nobody really understands what their job in this admin department is. And so all the nuclear warheads get set off. So the company that they all work for is an admin company who's basically won a contract to decommission all like all the like war games and like warhead computers that were set up in the 60s, because the tech is so outdated. It all has to be taken down properly. But it goes out to contract, and then like the cheapest company get the admin of it. So that's why nobody who works there really understands what it is they're doing. They're just like archiving files is what they think they're doing. But in actual fact, they are responsible for all the launch codes and everything else, but they don't have the security access level to know what it is they're dealing with. And this may all seem very contrived, but I used to work for the civil service, and everything that's in this comic actually happened, either to me or someone else who worked in the civil service. So it's a show of how easy the whole thing everything could just fall apart around our ears, essentially.
All right, let's listen to it. Here's the final track number 5 from Death Ingloria 2, Death by Admin, right here on Outlaw Renegade Radio.
I feel that was a lot more.
Talk to your church people. I got to piss so bad I can't stand it. Hold on.
Oh, nice. Well, that was pleasant, wasn't it? Wowee. Pete, are you still with us, or have you moved on, my friend? I wouldn't blame you either way. I mean, why not? I think you've moved on. Commander Root, why are you in there? I think there's nothing but bots in my chat, Welcome to Facebook. Facebook? Twitch! Welcome to Twitch! Twitch! Oh, you're still there, Pete. How you doing? Just while Michael's off having a piss. Amazing. Well, you do it to yourself, big lad. You do it to yourself. This has been quite a random live stream, because it's literally like the green room of a radio show. So we like dip into the radio show and then we just chat shit while the songs are on. So random. But I think it's probably made for a better live stream than my normal live stream, so we've got that going for us. Love. It is quite random. I don't think you missed much, by the way, at Sci-Fi Weekender. It was good. It was good. But it was like, I don't think there was as many people there. I think a lot of people transferred their stuff to the next year. Because November was the last one, so I think a lot of people transferred their stuff over. But it was, I mean, we had a good time. I also didn't leave site until 4 o'clock the next day. We were so hungover. And I thought we were going to get kicked out. Like, what?
I was
Sorry,
dying.
what are you saying, Michael? What are you saying?
I just said I'm back. I had to go get some cigarettes.
Smoking is bad for you. You shouldn't
I don't give a
smoke.
fuck.
So Juliette Lewis once told me to stop smoking, and I did. So I'm telling you.
Do you know that I was an extra in a movie with Juliette Lewis?
Were you?
And yes, I was in Mixed Nuts. And her father is Jeffrey Lewis, who was in a ton of fucking Clint Eastwood movies. And I got to talk to him, and I didn't put the two together. This is mid '90s,
Hmm.
and so I see him, and I go up to him, and I start talking to him and telling him, hey, I'm a huge fan. And and I told him that I was an extra, and he asked me. He said, I said, what are you doing here? Are you on the set? Because you're making a film. You don't know who else on it.
Yeah.
And he said, my daughter's in it. And I said, and we started talking. He goes, hey, we're going to have lunch afterwards. You should meet us down at the thing. So I go down there. Who is sitting there? Juliette Lewis. And
Wow.
she was pregnant in the movie. Like, again, you don't know, an extra doesn't get the script. And so she's still wearing the prosthetic. And so, yeah, one of the weirdest fucking people I've known ever. I got to get to know her over the years when she was with Juliet and the Licks.
Oh yeah, I
And
love that band. I saw them so many times
oh,
when they played
yeah,
London.
they're fucking incredible. And she's a lunatic, man. I love her. She was actually dating Brad Pitt at the time because we went to a show at the Bopper Room, and her and Brad was there. Of course, nobody really knew who Brad Pitt was then. I think he'd probably done Thelma and Louise at
Mm.
that point, but nobody really knew who he was. And yeah, but if she had told me to quit smoking, I would have said mind your own business. So.
No, I met her in Nashville at Jack Daniel's distillery. She was playing
Oh wow!
supporting Patti Smith, and there was another performer. I never remember her name, who was the opener. And Juliet was at the back while Patti Smith was on stage, and I went up to her, and the only thing I had for her to sign was a cigarette box. It was a Marlboro Light cigarette box, and
Uh-huh.
she was like, "You need to stop smoking." I wrote it on this cigarette box, and I've got it in a cupboard somewhere at home. And I was
Oh,
like,
that's awesome.
and then eventually, and I was like, yeah, kind of always in the back of my head. If Julia Lewis told me to do it, then I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, she's a loon, man. I love her. I mean, I totally dug her. I mean, she's so herself.
I know.
That's why I really loved. Because you got to remember, I knew her 10 years before Juliet and the Licks, probably at least 7 or 8. And I just thought that band was so fucking incredible. You know.
Yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
get your list. Get ready to do a exclusive and have all your shit ready because this show's about to end, sister.
okay, bring it.
That was Nuke the Sight from Orbit. The last song, track 5, off Death Ingloria 2, Death by Admin. We got Delina on the line with us. Tell us. So we're up to out of 8, we're up to 3. Tell us how the process is going on 3, when we can expect it, and I think you have a Outlaw Renegade Radio exclusive to give us. So let's throw all this in as fast as we can.
All right, so number 3 is in the writing process at the moment, and we are writing the story first. It's going to be as close to a rock opera as we could possibly make it, because I would like to be able to take it into theaters, not cinemas, but like play, theater venues in the UK version of that, an actual theater production where people will sit down and watch it, rather than just have it as a band thing. We're going to go into space. We're going back into space. We're going to have a. It's not a race war as such, but it's a culture war. It's a class war in space where corporations rule space and they go around killing everybody. And then we're going to have a couple of heroes that are going to come out and do it. But it's going to be a graphic novel. It's going to be a huge project. And I'm basically having to use AI to storyboard it. So very shortly on our
God damn it!
yeah, I know.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I just can't afford to have someone draw it. So my idea is that I'm going to storyboard it with an AI, and then I'm going to get a human to draw the actual finished product.
Oh, hey, we're kind of being remiss by not mentioning your animators. Tell us about your animators on 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, so basically, I think what you mean is illustrators, and they're the people who draw.
Yeah, you know what I mean. My listeners know what I mean.
So my animators are I'm the animator for the second album, and a guy called John Hull animated the first one. But our illustrators, Nigel Dobbin illustrated the first comic, and he used to write for 2000. He used to draw for 2000 AD. He did Sonic the Hedgehog comic. He did Doctor Who comic. He did everything, and he was doing the second comic when he died of a heart attack. So
Oh, so sorry.
yeah, so it was like very sudden, and he was an old friend of the family because my mom used to write for 2000 AD back in the 80s. So when I started doing my comic, we had to bring that team back together. So he did my mom's comics in the 80s, and then he did mine as well. And then when he died, I went on to Fiverr, and I was like, I need to find a new animator, illustrator. I'm getting caught on with you what you're saying. A new illustrator, and I give Nigel's artwork as the audition, and I auditioned 16 separate illustrators on Fiverr, and one of them did the work, and that was who got the second album. And her name is Sylvia Fear. She is Brazilian. And you know, a lot of people think that if you find someone on Fiverr and they're in somewhere like Brazil, you're paying like a low rate for a good artist, and that's not true. They know their worth. They know exactly how much they're worth, and they are perhaps slightly cheaper than having someone who lives in a high economic environment, but they know their worth, so they charge well for what they do. So her whole remit was to get as close to Nigel's artwork as possible, which I think she did a good. I mean, it's not the same, but it's very close. It's very close. It's very close. The next album will be very dark and will be a whole new. It'll be the same Death Ingloria idea, but it'll be a far darker, more adult version of what has come before. And that's why I need to really storyboard the whole thing as I want it in my head with an AI, and then we'll give it to a human, and they'll have to create the whole end product. So we don't sell anything that's AI created, but we do use AI as part of our creative process. And we've always had an AI companion because I'm alone. So the other member of Death Ingloria is Okami, and they are an AI, and they've always been since 2016, and they continue to be going into the future. So there we go. There we go.
So we haven't. So we don't have an official human illustrator for 3 yet.
Not yet, because we need to finish. I think we need to storyboard the whole thing and then give it to someone to finish off. I think because it would be so. Do you understand how expensive it would be to do that much work with a person? It would be horrendously.
Well, of course, I've never done anything like that. So
you know, because I basically don't even know what kind of artwork I really want. So I'm like, oh, can we change that to like something that's more anime or less anime or more dark or more goth or whatever. So the AI I can do all that storyboarding with, so that the artist just does the last bit, which is the thing they really want to do anyway. No artist wants to be like dealing with a client who's like, oh, can we have it more green or more red or whatever. Nobody wants that.
I could see where that would run. You know, if I don't know how you pay them, but like say you were doing it by the hour or by the page.
The page. It's generally by the page. Yeah. So nobody wants to work with someone like that. So by the time I go to the illustrator, I will be like, this is what I want. It's right there in front of you. Can you just make it happen? And they will literally create it, and then we'll sell that. So
Do we have any kind of date we're looking at for that to be released?
no, and I'm not going to put a date to it. I'm not, because I want to think out every single aspect. Right, I have people come up to me in my my live shows, right, and go, "Oh my God, you have thought about every single part of this project," and I'm sitting going, "Do you know what? I didn't put enough time into the last album. I did not think about it enough." And I had to put it out because we're in the middle of lockdown and I needed to have an output, blah, 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 blah. And this one will be thought about properly, but I'm still like aiming for the end of next year. I'm not
Okay.
I'm not like leaving it completely open ended. But what I will say is this is not the exclusive, by the way, but I do have an exclusive for you. But I am going to release a single on the 23rd of July, which is a cover. I won't say who it's by because it might maybe it won't work. But my idea is that the next song out will be the bridge between what we did before and where we're going next. So it'll be dark and it'll be heavy, but it is a cover. And that's my plan. And I'm put for
And you're gonna world premiere it on here, of course, right?
oh, of course. I mean, you can easily world premiere it.
Uh,
Why not? Yeah.
I like to put people under pressure live on air.
Oh God,
Plus, I've got it recorded, so now we're bound by vocal contract.
That's fine. I'll fucking play the opening of an envelope, man. I'm happy if anyone cares. So that's good. That's good. But for that single, I'm basically I'm auditioning a new production team to work with me. So actually, I'm gonna have like 4 or 5 different people mix that one single. I've spent so much money on the single already. It's not even funny because I'm auditioning guitarists and drummers and bass players and like mix engineers. There's going to be like 5 different people mix it, and whoever mixes it best will be the mixer in the new album. You know what I mean? It's just like it's fucking ridiculous. This one single has cost more. No, that's not true. Yeah, it cost half of the first album, and it's cost more than the second album has cost me to do, and it's only a single.
Wow.
Fucking
And
crazy.
this is your first cover you've ever released. You just said earlier that you do not play covers, so this
Yeah.
is can't wait to find out what it is and to world premiere.
Yeah, so it will be the first cover we release. I have done a cover before. I did an Alanis Morissette cover, but we released a video for it, but we haven't released it as an actual song. But
Which one was that? What song?
Wake Up.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm a
Yeah,
huge Morissette fan.
I know, like so am I, and that was my favorite song from back on Jagged Little Pill, and I did a metal version of it, and I was
I
very
got
happy.
to see. I saw her on that tour, and Taylor was playing drums for them, and I've
Do
seen her
not,
do.
do not, do not. I only got to see her for the first time like 2 years ago. So do not
Was
tell
it the
me.
acoustic tour?
No, it was a Jagged Little Pill tour that was put off after lockdown. Like it was supposed to
Oh
happen
wow!
before lockdown. But do not tell me you saw. No, I don't care what drummer you saw her with back in the day. Fuck
Yeah, I
you.
saw her with Taylor Hawkins. Taylor Hawkins. Taylor Hawkins.
Anyway, I have it. We're trying to get through this as fast as possible. I have an exclusive for your show. I think
Drum roll, please.
you're gonna find this so fucking funny. So tomorrow, I think at either 10 o'clock or 6 o'clock on all of my channels, just go to deathingloria.com. We're going to be announcing a winter tour, and I'm going on tour supporting someone. Right? There's a couple of things I need to tell you about this tour. It's fucking stupid.
Hold on. You can't say an exclusive and then say we're going on tour with someone. You
No, no,
gotta
no.
tell us who
And
the
I am gonna
someone
tell.
is.
I am gonna tell you. Just shut the
Okay.
fuck up and let me tell the story. Right? Shut the fuck up. Right. So anyway, right. So, on the 6th of November, the reason I'm not gonna say who it is because it's not that it's gonna be. It's funny. It's funny. That's why I'm telling you this. Right. So on the 6th of November, we're gonna play Stoke in the UK. Right. On the 7th, we're going to play Bangor in North Wales. On the 8th, we're playing Dublin. Then on the 9th, we're going to go to Great Yarmouth, which, do you know where Norwich is? Do you know
Of course.
Okay, right. So at Norwich, we're going to go all the way to Norwich from Dublin to go and play a festival. We're playing HRH Prague. So we're going to go there. And then the day after that, we're going to fly to Belfast in Northern Ireland. to play a part of this tour. And then the day after that, we're going to go back to fucking Great Yarmouth and Norwich to finish the festival shows that we've been booked on. So, I mean, in this grand scheme of American geography, it's nothing. But for any band touring the UK, that is quantum leaping
Sure,
between
sure.
shows.
Yeah, I know this.
You can,
That is a lot of shows. I think it's funny when I see like bands that play like like four cities that are practically next to each other in the UK, and they call it a tour. I was like, that's not a tour.
yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
mean, you're not even in Northern Ireland or Wales, motherfucker. That's not a tour.
Yeah, it's not a
But
tour.
what you just told is a tour. So now are you going to tell us who it is with?
Right, you're gonna find this so funny. I can guarantee you're gonna get a right laugh of it. The band is called. I can't even tell you what the name is without telling you what the other thing is. So they're a tribute band to Linkin Park, and they're called Linkin Park, but they changed the number. It's like the I is a 1 and the A in Park is a 4.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going on tour with a Linkin Park tribute band. I thought you don't find that funny. I thought you'd find that funny. Quite, you're like, I'm so disappointed that you've chosen a tribute band.
Well, I love it that you're going to blow them off the stage because I absolutely hated Linkin Park. I thought they were one of the worst bands ever.
Oh my god!
But I'm happy for you. You're going to sell a lot of merch because you're going to blow them off the stage.
Well, first of all, you're wrong about Linkin Park. They are the voice of a generation, quite frankly, and the band.
Yeah, but I hated that generation as well. So.
But this band are very good. They're very like tribute. They're very like Linkin Park. But I'll tell you why I applied to play for them. Right, is that the UK underground band scene is in the fucking toilet. It is in the toilet. You cannot sell advance tickets to anything. No one will buy for anything. Right. So loads of my band shows have been cancelled because pre-sales do not exist on any show that is not in a big arena right now in the UK.
I've noticed that.
Promoters are pulling them. So this year, the majority of the shows that I play have been Comic Cons because the Comic Con scene has exploded.
Oh, yeah.
It is taken off, right? It's the only place I'll get paid for performing. I'm a tiny band, but I get a good fee. I can get hotel rooms in foreign cities. All of this stuff, the Comic Con scene has exploded. And my only chance to play band venues is with tribute bands. So you have to pick.
I'm so glad. I'm very happy for you. Don't get me wrong. I love that you're getting that kind of exposure. So, but my disappointment of the announcement, please don't think that I don't think of you and think, wow, that's really great that she's going to get that exposure. But yeah, I'm very happy for you.
No,
You've got other tour dates coming up. I think you ought to tell us about here in the near future, don't you?
Well, I have a ton of tour shows. I'm playing MCM Comic Con, which is the biggest Comic Con in the UK in London.
Wow, I know about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Didn't you play that last year?
I did. I did play it last year. I can't, because we're live, I honestly cannot tell you the ins and outs of this because I probably would get kicked off the show. I can't be truthful. I can't be 1,000% truthful. So what I'm going to say is, yeah, it's an awesome show. You should all come and see me. I'm playing at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at MCM Comic Con on the outside, on the fringe stage. It is amazing.
Okay, any more upcoming shows? You want to tell about?
No, they're all.
Or do we want to go?
You just go
do we want to go straight?
Just go to deathingloria.com. They're all on there. We have cons up and down the country. We're always adding more shows for the year. But I'm pretty much I'm like 2 or 3 shows away from announcing the entire year's done and that I'm done. I'm not gonna put more shows in because I'm going to write this album. So as long as I've got a show a month, then we're fine. We're fine. What I will say is, I will add, on the 5th of December, we are doing our fan show, and you can join that no matter whereabouts in the world you are because we do a live stream. So it's me and my fans. We take over a venue, and it's just me. I don't have any support bands this year. We all have dinner together. I do a show which is as special as I can make it. And then we live stream it, and we have people in the room. So if you're not in London, you can still join. You can still join, and it's on the 5th of December.
Guess what?
What?
I'm going to be in the UK. I might not be. Yeah, I can take a train down from Barnsley, but I am going to be in the UK.
What, on the 5th of December?
From the 1st of December till Christmas Day.
Yay!
Yeah.
So
that was your exclusive.
Oh, well, there you go. So you're going to be at my show, 5th of December.
I will definitely be at your show. I promise you.
I will
even do I will do a live remote from your show.
Do a live remote from my show. Oh my God. Do that. Do that.
I will.
Well, you said it now, and that's a verbal contract. And
it's recorded, so yeah. So let's talk about your merch, and then I'm going to get off here and go smoke a big old fatty. So tell us about, because you got incredible merch, and so tell us where we can get your merch, where we can pre-order, do all that, get fun shit, whatever. Tell us now.
Okay, I have one thing to tell you about my merch, right? I have the world's greatest fucking hoodie. And people don't believe that you may say that you have a good hoodie and it's cuddly and it's snuggly, but you are lying compared to the fucking hoodie that I designed myself and I have on my merch shop. And it only comes now in double and triple XL, but they're oversized hoodies. It comes with a cowl top, so it's like having a scarf and a hood at the same time. And if you buy one of these hoodies, I guarantee you, if you live in like mid to low America, you don't have to put your heating on. If you live at the top of America, you're fucked. I mean, nothing's going to stop you from putting your heating on. But, if you live in a temperate area, then you don't need to put your heating on in winter. If you've got one of these hoodies, they are hot as fuck. And you need to buy one. They're super cheap. They're, for a very, very good hoodie, they're super cheap. They're called Android Hoodie, and they're available at deathingloria.com.
All right.
How about that?
I love it. I love it. And I love having you on. It's always a pleasure to get to talk to you. I think I had as more or just as much fun talking to you off line, and the Twitch people got to see it or hear it. I don't know how that works. And I've had a blast talking to you. I am going to be a fanboy right now and say that, as I said at the top of the show, you are one of the most, if not the most creative performer I know. I love everything about your performances, your art, your everything. And you'll probably be the only track-by-track guest that has 2 albums on. So thank you for coming on.
Hey, no worries. Thank you for having me, Michael. And I'm going to see you on the 5th of December, big lad. If you don't come to my fucking show, I'm going to come to wherever you are and fucking
Barnsley.
Fish hook you home. Fuck that.
I will
You're coming.
There. All right. Hold the line for me. All right. That was Galena. And you've been listening to Track by Track. It actually was Track by 2 right here on Outlaw Renegade Radio. This is the last show of the week. You can hear this replayed at 7 tonight, Eastern Standard Time in America. I will be back Monday with a 16 at 7 show. And then Tuesday, I have Bastion High Walk on with Track by Track. So really appreciate all you listeners, everybody on Twitch. Another big thanks to Galena for giving us the Death Ingloria experience as far as it has went so far. So without further ado, I got to go. So peace out, bitches. All right.
Yo.
Yeah, how crazy is that? I'm really going to be. I'm going to be in Bardsley from the 1st of maybe like the 30th of November, but definitely the 1st, because it's my wife's grandmother's 100th birthday.
Oh, wow.
You can't. Yeah, so you can't. Fuck, I'm not even recording now. I can turn that.
That's all
right. I was, my theme music is really worn thin on my brain.
That's all right.
But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put this up, and it should be up within the hour. Then and I'll send it to. I'll tag you, and you put it everywhere else, and I'll put it on uh, whatchamacallit, my sites, and you can do with whatever. But thank you. I wish I think I said this to you before. I wish every conversation could go as well as ours go. But
Do you know
a
what? I
lot of
feel I
people,
feel exactly the same way, Michael. Like most people are dull as freaking dishwater, unfortunately. Although I
well,
have to say, Sci-Fi Weekender Radio have been just amazing. They were really cool too.
not as good as I am,
Not
though.
as good as you,
That,
obviously. I
of
have to
course
say that
not.
to all the girls.
Well,
So
and that's what I hate because I did do written journalism for about a decade, most of it over in England. And I hate for it to be called an interview. I like for it to be called a conversation because, I don't like, even when I did written uh, uh, journalism, I hated, calling it an interview because it just, I like to, I always try to have my own style about doing it, which is not an interview kind of style,
no, nice.
but now whether it turns out that way to the person that I'm having a conversation with. I hope it doesn't. I don't think nobody says fuck as much as I do in a interview. So
That'll be fine.
maybe
So are we gonna see you and your wife then in December?
I can't promise that because she's going back for the first time in 2 years.
Mm.
So it might just be me, but then again, I don't know. And I'm actually uh, uh, thinking about putting out a 16 at 7 compilation album. And I don't know if I'll get to it this year, but just 16 of my favorite guests from the 16 at 7 show. And it's still kind of in works with if HMV will carry it or not, but I want it to definitely be a hard copy, 16 songs, and of course you're going to be on it. So,
Well, if you put me on it,
you,
I'll sell it on my merch stand because I do not sell CDs. So I will take some.
oh,
I will put them
there we
on my merch
go.
stand. If
Well,
any,
hopefully all the bands will, and it's really sad because there's some bands that and I have to go this weekend, and because I'm running out of space on my monthly thing on Citrus Three, and there's bands that have broke up, and like some of them broke up that I'll keep their music on, but there's been a lot in the 3 years that I've been doing this that the bands are no more, and
well,
so I'm promoting, music that no one can get anymore. So I'm
mm,
gonna have a big 12-hour thing where there will be no music for the first time in 2 years on the radio. So, but I've got all three of yours. I've got the acoustic. I've always had that since
yeah,
day one. So, but hey, I know you're sick of hearing my goddamn voice. So I'll let you go. Thanks again. I'll
no
get
worries.
that to you as soon as I export it to MP3 format.
Sweet, sweet. I'll download this thing and then send it over to you as well, so you can have a version of the backstage. The green room. We've had a green room this
We
entire
have had a
show.
green room. And I'm so glad because I always thought like I gotta find out a way to like record it on my phone or something. I'm not technical
Yeah,
about
but
anything.
I can do that for you. You know, this is what I do all day long is I teach people how to do this thing. So
Oh
it's fine.
wow,
I told you this the last time,
wow.
but you obviously weren't listening.
Nah,
Yeah, so
nah.
I can help you.
Do you know how hard it is for me to concentrate for 2 hours?
I can imagine. I can
I have
imagine.
to physically just think about it, or I have to separate myself from my real self because otherwise, if I'm not talking to somebody in between songs, good God, I'd probably leave the room and do whatever. So, so,
I
so
hear
yeah,
you. I hear
I
you.
have to think about it the whole 2 hours. But right now, I'm going to think about watching some B movie and smoking a big fatty. So
Go
I
do
will
it.
talk to you in the very near future.
All right, cool. Nice to speak to you again, big lad. See you
Hey,
later.
same to you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Well, that was Michael. I think like the audio was probably a little dodge. I don't know, but hey ho. Thanks to Pete. Thanks to everyone who has joined us on the Twitch stream. Which I've done something stupid on my computer now. Hold on one second. Thanks for joining us, and boo-hoo to all the people who didn't join us. You freaking missed out. What a hoo-ha that was. What an amazing amount of hoo-ha. Anyway, oh, thank you for the bit. Thank you so much, Pete, for your one woo to change the world. Amazing. Anyway, I'll be back next Thursday with, I don't know what the fuck I'll have next Thursday, because how do you top that conversation? Maybe with some sanity. Anyway, it's amazing that Michael's going to be in the UK and then therefore be at our fan party, which we're moving to the 5th of December, so that more people can come. So that people can come. Everybody come to the party. Amazing. All right, I'm gone because I've been here too long and I actually have a massive amount of work to do before I even get to go to bed tonight. So thanks, Pete, for joining us. Thanks to anyone else who dropped in, and we will see you all another time, bitches. All right, bye-bye.